All right, that was Jagged Edge. So over the weekend, as I often do, I was going over social media. I was looking on Instagram, an account I follow, Mr. Crims 3, I think it is. He's very interesting, very informative. I like to watch his account. I learn a lot of things from him. On Saturday, I believe it was, he had a post of his mother, and his mother was talking about her being a child and growing up in Chicago and how segregated it was, how she was 8 or 10 years old. There were certain places they knew that they couldn't go, certain streets they couldn't go down, certain places they had to stay away from. She loved McDonald's, as most kids did back then. They were not plentiful, so when they built one, according to her story, they built one that was kind of close. She decided that she would take her little sister, and a friend, ride their bikes, and go to McDonald's. So she puts her little sister on the seat, like we used to do. She put one on the seat, we used to put one on the seat, one of the handlebars. We get to going, you go to your destination. So they're riding down this street, and it's a busy street. So they decide to turn down a residential street. On this street are all kind of families that they often are in the summer. Mothers, fathers, kids playing around. She hears this chant, this N-word, go home, which is what she recognizes. Instantly, she knew that something was wrong. So her friend who was with her rode off. She had her younger sister on the bike. She knew she couldn't ride fast enough to get away. She stops her bike. She puts her sister behind her, says, don't move. She takes her bike chain off, wraps around her head, and says to herself, I'm not going to be an N-word that day, and makes a stand. Luckily, nothing happens. She rides home, tells her mother goes looking for them. They can't find these people. Years later, and I grew up in Los Angeles, and I remember the first time I heard that word from an adult that, where I understood that it was something that was different about it. I was a kid. I went to Avalon Gardens Elementary School. We would always go to Alvera Street, which is the oldest street in Los Angeles. Inner city kids on a field trip. It was always, every year we went, I was always excited to go. So this one particular year, I saved some money for ice cream because I love this ice cream shop. And my friend, I had told him about it the preceding weeks. I was telling him we're going to go there and we're going to get this great ice cream. We land, we hang around for a little bit, then we beeline to the ice cream parlor. I walk in with my friend. I'm so proud. I saved my money. I'm getting my friend. I'm showing him experience I have. I dig this ice cream. I walk up to the man and I say, sir, can we have some strawberry ice cream? He says, we don't serve niggas. And then I said, well, can we have Rocky Road? Like, I had no idea that was, that he was saying something, because from my reference, adults just didn't talk to children like that. They just didn't say, things that, you knew that they shouldn't say. So my friend explains to me what he meant. I leave. The interesting thing about that is Mr. Crims' mother grew up in Chicago a few years before I did. I grew up in Los Angeles. But the thing that I find interesting is two children doing what children do, one going to McDonald's, one going to get ice cream, are basically having their innocence taken from them by adults who feel like they could just say whatever. And they did it, probably, in her experience, they did it in front of children. Children learn from what they see, either directly or indirectly. Matter of fact, many of us are the very religions our parents taught us. We have the diets our parents taught us. We have the mindset our parents. It is very hard to break away from everything you learned as a child. And when a child sees a parent doing something, an adult doing something, an adult they trust doing something, they feel like it's all right. When they're not trying to hide it, when they're not trying to conceal it, they're doing it out in the open, they think it's all right to do. So imagine it. Most children, as a matter of fact, like I said, most people grow up, they adopt the diet, the intellect, the mindset, the religion of the people who raised them, or the adults that they loved and respected. It's hard to break away from that. As a matter of fact, 70% of Americans live within 10 miles of where they were raised. That's how incestuous it is. 80% of Americans live within 80 miles of where they were raised. 80% of Americans live within 50 miles of where they were raised. Case in point, all of my children, adult children, except for the trader that lives in Atlanta, with my grandchildren, she lives in Atlanta, but everybody else lives in close proximity to me. My brothers and sisters live in close proximity to my mothers. My cousins live around. So we're all an example of people not moving and being in these enclaves. When a child learns these things from an adult, it is hard to tell them that they're wrong. It is hard to tell them that they learned something from somebody they trusted that is wrong. The people that loved them didn't think that way. So they adopt the mindset, the attitudes, the biases of the people that raised them. Sometimes that is a good thing, adopting somebody's mindset. Sometimes it's bad. And the reason these things continue to happen, because those children who saw their parents do things grew up and they became children. So what do you think they are more inclined to do? In the Bible, it says, train up a child in the way he should go. And even when they're old, they will never depart from it. So what they learn when they're young, they carry with them when they're old. Train up a child in the way they should go, and even when they're old, they will not depart from it. Sometimes it's a religion. Sometimes it's a diet. But sometimes it's hatred and bias. That's a little note from the GED section. Got the Jazz Report coming up in 15 minutes. It's the D.L. Hughley Show.